Greetings and welcome back to room 303 in our Talks with Walt, as we are calling our readings through the deathbed edition of Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass. We turn now to the second to the last poem of the edition Leaves of Grass, Unseen Buds. This is poem 30 of the 31 of Goodbye My Fancy Cluster. Notice here, we're back to the poem Germs, and as well we are working with, again, this idea of the poem that will present us some kind of sense of purpose. So I love this as well. Our assumptions are that you've been following our stuff at learnstrong.net down that left-hand side, Talks with Walt, our playlist, and that you've as well been spending a bit of time with our introduction to the Goodbye My Fancy Cluster. We just finished with Grand is the Scene. And I love how this previous poem, works so well with Unseen Buds. That is to say, they work together so well. Now, our Nortons will give us some background information here and say that it was first published in Goodbye My Fancy. In The Evolution of Walt Whitman, Roger Alcindru suggests on page 14 that in the development of his book, Whitman's poems themselves germinated in the fashion here described. I find that a fascinating idea. In other words, in some ways, what Whitman is trying to do at the end of Leaves of Grass is to qualify the very project of constructing Leaves of Grass, which for us as artists and as writers we find remarkable, yes? Now, of course, Unseen will take us back to Grand is the Scene, the previous poem, and the word buds will take us back to Song of Myself 25. He'll say it this way: unseen buds, infinite, hidden well. Of course, we're back to the idea of puzzle, we're back to the idea of hidden and curious and all of that. Hidden well. Of course, hidden takes us back to Song of the Exposition 3. Under the snow and ice, in other words, the germination happening. Under the darkness in every square or cubic inch, germinal. And again, I'm fascinated that here we are, second to the last poem in Leaves of Grass. And here this word germinal is used one and only one time, although of course the poem Germs immediately comes to mind. Exquisite is his next word, 13 times used in Leaves of Grass. In delicate lace, I find that fascinating. It's almost like it is taking us back to Song of Myself 24 with his use of the word delicate. Microscopic, again, his love of the new science of his day. Unborn, and then he uses the simile, like babes in wombs, and we've seen this so many times, this imagery. Laden, folded, again, that idea is so central to reading Leaves of Grass. Compact, sleeping, and then he'll use these exaggerated numbers again. Billions of billions and trillions of them waiting. Now, he could have made the argument that what he was saying is the ideas expressed here are going into the trillions, and they grow. And I'm hopeful that our study together of Leaves of Grass has done this for you. There's so many ideas. You're like, wow, that's a very interesting idea. I'll have to run that one to ground. Obviously, maybe not trillions, and maybe not even billions, but there's been one or two of us that have spent some time reading Leaves of Grass, so Whitman was maybe predicting us as readers here. And then in parenthetics, on earth and in the sea, those are his two. Go back to Song of Myself 46, 47. Those are always his two places, either on the ground or in the sea. On earth and in the sea, and then the dash. The universe, and then the dash. The stars there in the heavens. We immediately think of learned astronomer again. Urging slowly, go back to Eidolons, the old urge, Song of Myself 3, the procreant urge. We're back again to these ideas at the very beginning of Leaves of Grass. Urging slowly, surely forward, his idea of evolution. Forming endless, and again, you know, it makes us think so well of learned astronomer. And waiting, the idea of patience, evermore, forevermore behind. In other words, standing either behind or under the ground. In other words, his argument, I think at 2a, is that true inspiration always carries on. This is why we love great artists, yes? This is what makes us come back to the poems of Leaves of Grass over and over again. At 2b, I love that this is a poem to show Whitman's almost like compositional design. And yet I could argue, and I think some of you will pick up on this, there does seem to be almost like a sad tone or a sad voice, like the energy is starting to ebb away. And now all Whitman can do is say, I've done it, I leave it, and I leave it to you guys to read it. Finally, at 3a, well, think about the trinity of these last three poems as we're now about to move on to the actual Goodbye My Fancy final poem. And at 3b, how about this? What was a time that you had the urge to do something, but you missed or lacked the energy to do it? And to what degree is reading Leaves of Grass helping you maybe to find the right energy to create? I hope that's the case. Thank you.